The sun beats down on Victoria's dusty streets, a dry heat curling through the open window of Elon Musk's Cybertruck. The familiar curves of his childhood city are like a second skin, though they carry a weight of memories he'd long tried to outrun. It's late spring in South Africa, and the air hums with the sound of cicadas, a buzz that pulls at the edges of his consciousness. Victoria Boys High School looms ahead, unchanged since he last saw it in 1989. Its red brick walls, its iron gates, the same as they were when he fled as a gangly teen with a stutter, desperate to escape to Canada, to dream bigger than this place could hold. Now, as a global titan with SpaceX, Tesla, and Neuralink to his name, Elon returns, not for a reunion, not for a plaque, but on a whim, a pull he can't quite name. He slows the truck, its angular frame gleaming under the harsh noon light, a stark contrast to the battered Toyotas and Volkswagens parked along the curb. The engine hums softly before he cuts it off, leaving only the stillness of the afternoon. Alone. No entourage, no cameras. Just him. A rare break from Austin's chaos. The school is still in session. Faint shouts of boys echo from the rugby field, a sound that once knotted his stomach. He steps out of the truck, boots crunching on the gravel as he adjusts the black jacket slung over his shoulder. Shades perched on his nose, he walks toward the gate, expecting maybe a nod, maybe a "Welcome back, sir," from a face that might dimly recall the awkward kid who'd once shuffled these halls. He approaches the guard post. A squat brick box, its window streaked with dust. Inside, a broad-shouldered graying man peers out, his uniform still crisp despite the midday heat. Elon adjusts his stance, a half-smirk tugging at his lips. But it fades when the guard's voice rings out, flat and unimpressed. "Name?" he barks, clipboard in hand. Elon blinks. "Musk," he says, casual. "Elon Musk, I went here, just visiting." The guard scans the list, eyes flicking up and then down. "No visitors without clearance," he says, tone like stone. "School policy. No exceptions." Elon's smirk falters. The disbelief is palpable. "Clearance?" he echoes, leaning in. "I'm not some tourist. I was a student here. Look me up. I'm in the records." The guard doesn't budge, his pen tapping rhythmically against the clipboard. "Don't care who you were," he says, unmoved. "Rules are rules. No call ahead, no entry." Elon's jaw tightens, a flush creeping up his neck. It's not anger, not yet, but a sting, the kind he hasn't felt in years. He pulls out his U.S. driver's license, sliding it through the window slot with a sharpness in his voice. "This mean anything to you?" he asks. "I built SpaceX, Tesla. I'm not just some random guy." The guard glances at the ID. Then, without hesitation, slides it back. "Means nothing here," he says. "Could be the king of Mars. Still need clearance. Gate stays shut." Elon stares at the guard, his hands flexing. The rejection hits him like a punch from a past he's tried to outrun. Memories flood back. 1970s Toria, a skinny kid with a stutter, dodging fists in these very corridors. Boys High wasn't kind. Bullies cornered him, mocked his odd ideas. His nose always buried in a book, while Fred, his father, growled, "Toughen up, boy." May, his mother, whispered something softer, something Elon had ignored then. "You're enough." He'd left at 17, vowing never to look back, building an empire to prove the school, the town, and the world wrong. But now, standing here at the gates of that past, he realizes the vow has come full circle. The gates are iron bars, mocking the dream he thought he left behind. "Are you serious?" Elon asks, louder now. "I'm Elon Musk. I put satellites in orbit, cars on Mars, roads, and you're telling me I can't walk in?" The guard just shrugs. No recognition, no response. "You call the office tomorrow. Get on the list. No dice today." Elon's eyes narrow, a storm building in his chest. He could buy this place, raise it, build something new. But the guard's stare, firm, indifferent, holds a petty power unshaken by fame. A shout rings out from the rugby field. Elon flinches, the sound dragging him back to those bruised days when he was the outsider, the one who didn't fit. He turns, pacing the gravel. The old instinct rises to fight, to push, to win, but something else stirs within him. May's voice flickers in his mind. There's strength in letting go. He stops, staring at the gate, at the red brick walls, at the guard's stony face. Unbelievable, he mutters, half to himself. The sting morphs from rejection to something else, a mirror reflecting the kid he thought he buried under steel and stars. Elon takes a step back, his boots crunching on the gravel, his eyes still locked on the gate. The guard's stern face looms in his peripheral vision, but it's the red brick walls of the school that dominate his thoughts. The air feels heavier now. It's not the heat, but the weight of memories floating in, memories he's tried to forget, tried to bury under layers of success and the chaos of his adult life. The hum of the cicadas seems to drown out everything, only to give way to the distant shouts of the rugby players, their voices piercing through the years, dragging him back. His gaze drifts unbidden to the far corner of the school grounds, the same spot where he had stood, awkward, shy, afraid. It feels like another lifetime. He could still feel the sharp sting of the bully's laughter echoing in his ears. "You're not one of us, Musk," they'd shouted. The same voices that had taunted him about his stutter, his awkward gait, and his odd ideas that no one else seemed to understand. How often had he escaped into books, pages of science fiction, technology, and dreams bigger than what this town could offer. In those days, the school had been a battleground, not a place of learning, but a place of survival. He remembers the burning heat of the sun on the playground, the cold, mocking laughter from the popular kids as they huddled together, making fun of his long, gangly frame. It had been easier to hide behind his books, to dream of rockets and electric cars, to escape into a future that seemed impossible. Fred, his father, had been there too, urging him to toughen up. "Toughen up, boy. Don't be soft." His father's words were sharp, cold, and filled with the kind of tough love that left no room for weakness. May, on the other hand, had always been his anchor. Her voice, softer, gentler, had always told him something different. "You're enough, Elon. You've always been enough." But back then, he hadn't listened to her. Not truly. Not until he left the small town of Toria at the age of 17, vowing never to look back, determined to build something that would prove them all wrong. He had promised himself that one day he would make them see. He would show the world that the boy they mocked had become a man who changed everything. The wind stirs, pulling him out of his thoughts, and Elon shifts his weight, feeling the old emotions stir inside him, the resentment, the anger, that deep-rooted belief that he wasn't enough, until he became everything they said he never could be. But here he is, standing at the gates of the very place that tried to break him, a place he had once been desperate to escape. The same gate, the same walls, now mocking him in a way he hadn't anticipated. The air hums with the weight of the past, but this time, something feels different. Elon clenches his fists, feeling a rush of heat in his chest. But it's not the heat of anger. It's something deeper. A mixture of pride and frustration, of unresolved memories clawing at the edges of his thoughts. The past he'd outrun is still here, alive in these bricks, in this gate, in the guard's unmoving face. A decision takes shape in his mind. Elon's eyes narrow, and for the first time he realizes this moment isn't just about what happened to him in the past. This moment is about what he chooses to do now. With a deep breath, he steps forward, feeling the familiar weight of his boots on the gravel. He could turn around, drive away, let the rejection wash over him like a wave, and be done with it. But something inside him stirs. an impulse he hasn't felt in years. It's not anger, not even defiance. It's a quiet desire, a need to do something that isn't about fighting back, but about building. Elon reaches into the truck, pulling out the sketch pad that's always with him. He's always sketching, always building, ever since those teenage years spent dreaming of the future in a world that didn't believe in him. As his pencil moves quickly across the paper, the outline of a structure begins to take shape. Not a rocket, not a car, but something else. Something simpler. Something born from the very place that had once tried to crush his dreams. A library. Solar-powered. Low, sturdy, shelves for books. Books for the dreamers. The ones who don't fit in. The ones who feel lost, like he had felt so many years ago. He pauses, looking down at the sketch, the sharp lines of the design taking form before his eyes. It's not a monument to his success. It's not a legacy he'll ever see built with his name on it. It's a gift. A gift for the kids who feel just like he did, the ones who need a place to dream. A quiet defiance. A rebellion not against the school or the guard, but against the idea that strength must always be loud, that success must always be grand. It's not about what the world will see, but what it could give to those who need it most. Elon tears the page from the sketch pad, folding it carefully. As he approaches the gate again, the guard still stands unmoved, his eyes never leaving Elon's form. Without a word, Elon slides the folded sketch under the window of the guard post, a note written on top. For the kids who feel lost here, let them dream big. The guard's brow furrows as he takes the paper, but he doesn't say anything. Instead, he simply watches as Elon steps back, hands in his pockets. The gate remains shut, the iron bars still an impassable barrier, but the sting has shifted. Not rejection, not defeat. A seed planted, a quiet act of defiance, building something from the dust of his past. Elon stands there, hands in his pockets, watching the guard as he tucks the sketch into his clipboard. There's no dramatic moment, no sudden shift in the guard's demeanor. The iron gate remains closed, but the moment feels different now. It's not just rejection anymore. It's a choice. A quiet, unexpected choice that Elon has made, even if the world won't immediately recognize it. The sun is starting to dip lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the gravel. A soft breeze stirs, carrying the faint scent of earth and dust from the rugby field. The sounds of the boys playing, shouting, laughing, fighting over the ball, cut through the air, bringing Elon back to a place he's been trying to forget. The echoes of his own youth, the voices of bullies, the constant sting of not being enough. For a moment, he feels small again. Not the billionaire he is now, but that skinny kid who had stuttered his way through a world that didn't care about his ideas. The boy who had to hide behind books to escape the harshness of a life he never chose. Elon glances at the Cybertruck parked nearby, its futuristic shape now seeming out of place against the backdrop of the red brick walls. It's a stark contrast to the ordinary cars parked along the street, to the dusty schoolyard where he once tried to fit in. Everything around him feels like a lifetime ago, yet it's all so familiar. He turns and walks back to the truck, his boots kicking up small puffs of dust as he goes. The weight of his past feels heavier now, almost suffocating. As he climbs back into the driver's seat, the cool leather of the seat feels like a comfort and a prison all at once. The truck hums to life beneath him, the quiet whir of the engine filling the space. But even the hum can't drown out the voice in his head, the one that's been there for years, whispering that he needs to prove himself, that he needs to show the world that the awkward teenager who was bullied and rejected is now a force to be reckoned with. For so long, that's what he's believed. that everything he's built, from the rockets to the cars, has been a way to silence the past, to rise above the pain and rejection. And in some ways, it's worked. He's done things no one thought possible. He's changed industries, broken barriers, and earned a place in history. But here, now, in this quiet moment with the gates of Toria Boys High School still standing between him and the memories of his youth, Elon feels something different. It's not anger or the drive to conquer. It's a pull, a gentle reminder of the boy he once was and the boy he promised never to be again. He takes a deep breath and pulls out his phone. It's not for lawyers, not for the press, it's for May. Her voice is the one constant in his life. The voice that has always believed in him, even when he didn't believe in himself. Elon? Her voice answers, warm with a faint South African lilt. He exhales, rough, unsure of what he's about to say. I'm in Toria, the old school. They wouldn't let me in. There's a pause on the other end, and then she chuckles. Sounds about right. What'd you do? Elon can't help but smirk, a faint flicker of humor breaking through the tension. Drew something. A library for the kids. Slipped it to the guard. May's laughter softens. That's my boy, always building even when they say no. Her words settle over him, and for the first time in a long while, he feels something shift inside. The weight of the past, the anger, the need to prove himself, all seems to dissipate, replaced by something quieter, something more genuine. He looks back at the gates, still shut, still a barrier between him and the past. But it no longer feels like a prison. Thanks, Mom, he mutters, his voice thick. It's a simple gesture, but it's the first time in years that he's truly felt like he's been able to give back. Not to prove something, but just to give. As the call ends, Elon lowers the phone and looks at the sketch pad in the passenger seat. It's not a grand project. It's not a billion-dollar idea or a world-changing invention. But it's something else, something born from his own pain, his own struggle, and his own desire to make a difference. A library, not for him, not for fame, but for the kids who feel like he once did, the ones who need a place to dream. He looks up at the gates again, the silence of the schoolyard stretching out before him. The guard still stands in the booth, unaware of the change that has just occurred. Elon's eyes narrow, not in anger, but in a quiet determination. This is a new kind of strength. It's not the strength of the rockets, the cars, or the big-name companies. It's the strength of giving without expecting anything in return. The strength of leaving a mark not on the world, but on the hearts of those who need it most. And with that, he opens the truck door and steps back onto the gravel road. He's not finished yet. The day is still young, and the library, that simple gift, is just beginning to take shape. The morning sun rises higher over Toria, its heat softening only slightly as the day progresses. Elon stands in front of the old school's gates again, this time with purpose. He's parked his Cybertruck under the shade of a jacaranda tree just a block away. The purple blooms dust the truck's angular frame, a quiet contrast to the chaotic storm of thoughts swirling in his mind. The sketch pad rests on the passenger seat. The plans for the library have taken shape, both on paper and in his heart. He had started this journey to prove something, but now it's clear. This isn't about him. It's about the dreamers, the ones who feel lost, the ones who have no place to go. As he waits, Elon watches the students slowly trickle out of the school. They're not the same boys he remembers, at least not entirely. The ones who had once tormented him now seem like strangers, just figures passing by. He wonders if they're still living their lives as he had lived his, too busy trying to fit in to escape the world that never understood them. He can't help but notice one boy in particular. A skinny kid, no older than 14, his hair a mess of dark curls. He's not like the others. The kid doesn't walk with the same bravado, doesn't move with the confidence of those who have been accepted. Instead, he seems to shrink into the background, his hands shoved deep into his pockets, his eyes avoiding contact with anyone. Elon's heart tugs. He remembers what it was like to be the odd one out, to be the dreamer who had no space to fit in. "Hey," Elon calls out, his voice gruff but not unkind. The boy jumps, startled. He looks up, eyes wide, his lips parting, as if he's unsure whether he should speak. Elon gestures toward the truck, the one that gleams like a beacon of a future the kid might never have imagined. "You know how to build?" The boy hesitates, looking around as if seeking an escape, but then something shifts. The idea of building catches his attention. The boy steps forward slowly, his posture less defensive now. I built a birdhouse once," he mutters, his voice unsure but filled with an eager curiosity. Elon chuckles softly, the corners of his lips curling up. "Well, that's a start," he says. "Grab a hammer. Let's see what else you can do." The boy hesitates for a moment longer, but then, as if the offer has cracked through the barrier of self-doubt, he nods. "Okay." More boys begin to gather, some drawn by the sight of Elon, others by the chance to be part of something different. One boy, lanky and with thick glasses, steps up. "What are you doing here?" he asks, his voice a mix of awe and disbelief. "Building," Elon replies, his tone matter of fact, but with an edge of determination. "Just a little something for the kids." The group continues to grow, more boys drawn to the sight of the solar panels, the lumber, the tools, and most importantly, the possibility of being part of something new. A few stand back, hesitant, unsure, while others begin to roll up their sleeves and join in, a mix of awe and excitement flickering in their eyes. The project is simple, nothing extravagant, just a framework, a few panels, some bookshelves. But in the hands of these boys, it transforms. The task becomes something bigger than just construction. It becomes a place where they can build, not just with tools, but with hope. Elon's mind wanders as he watches them. Hope. That's what this is about. He remembers the days when he had no hope, when every corner of the school seemed like a reminder of how different he was. But now, as he stands here guiding these boys, it's clear. He's not just building a library. He's building a bridge between generations, between the ones who've dreamed and the ones who have yet to discover their dreams. He turns his focus back to the boys. They're starting to get the hang of it now. The hammering, the lifting, the teamwork. It's clumsy at first, the nails bending, the boards uneven. But there's something there. The air hums with their laughter, with their chatter, with the shared energy of a group working toward something bigger than themselves. Elon pulls out the sketch pad again, making quick notes as the structure begins to take form. He adds a skylight to the design, a small space for the boys to sit and read, a bench outside for them to gather, to share their dreams. One of the boys, Peter, the stockier one with freckles, looks up at him, his eyes wide. "Hey, this is better than rugby," he says, a grin spreading across his face. Elon smirks, wiping the sweat from his brow. "Yeah? Well, this is the kind of building I like. No one's yelling at you here." Peter laughs, tossing a nail into the air as he works, and for a moment, Elon lets himself feel a flicker of pride. It's not about fame or success. It's not about building the next big thing. It's about this, about helping these boys find something they can hold on to, something that might just change the course of their lives. As the day stretches on, the sun climbs higher, and the boys work with increasing determination. The frame of the library rises higher with each passing hour, a sturdy skeleton of wood and solar panels. There's something about the simplicity of the structure that appeals to Elon. It's not a monument to his own greatness, not a symbol of his wealth, or his status. It's a place for them, a place for the dreamers. Elon watches as more boys join in, each adding their own touch to the project. He doesn't know how many of them will grow up to change the world, but he knows this. They'll carry something with them, a piece of hope, a piece of possibility. "Do you think we can put Star Wars books in it?" one of the boys asks shyly, his voice barely above a whisper. Elon looks up from his work, surprised. He hadn't considered it, but the idea makes him smile. "Why not, if that's what you want?" The boy's eyes light up. "Yeah, Star Wars books and maybe some comics." Elon laughs, shaking his head, a rare, genuine laugh that feels good in his chest. He's not laughing at them. He's laughing with them. By the time dusk begins to settle over Toria, the framework of the library stands strong. It's low, sturdy, and simple, with panels glinting in the soft light of the evening. The boys stand around it, tired but proud, their hands dirty and their clothes streaked with dust. They slump onto the grass, grinning at their work. Elon sits with them, his jacket discarded, sleeves rolled up. Jacob, the shy kid who'd been the first to approach him, sits next to him. "You're not like they said," Jacob says quietly, a shy grin tugging at his lips. "All loud and stuff." Elon chuckles softly, his voice rough. "I can be loud when I need to be." Peter kicks a pebble, laughing. "This is better. No one's punched me here." Thabo, the quiet boy with the limp, sits close by, tracing lines in the dirt. "Feel safe here," he whispers. The words hit Elon harder than he expects. Safe. The one thing he never had in these halls. The one thing he's offering now. He leans back against the library, feeling a quiet peace settle over him. This is more than he ever expected. It's not the world-changing project he envisioned when he first left Toria, but it's something more. Something that feels right. He watches the boys, their faces full of laughter and pride. They're not just building a library, they're building a future. Their future. And for the first time in a long while, Elon feels like he's exactly where he's supposed to be. The late afternoon sun casts a golden hue over Toria, its rays stretching long across the gravel as Elon watches the boys finish their work. The framework of the library is nearly complete now, the solar panels angled toward the sky, gleaming softly in the fading light. There's a quiet hum of satisfaction in the air, an energy that feels different from the frantic rush of his usual life. This is something real, something tangible. As the boys begin to gather their tools, some of them fall into small groups, talking about what they'll do next. The day's work is done, but there's an unspoken bond between them now. It's more than just the library. It's about the shared experience, the sense of belonging they've built together. They've created something that will outlast them, something that matters. Elon stands apart from the group, his eyes scanning the structure. It's simple, yes, but there's something in its simplicity that makes it powerful. It's a place for the dreamers, the ones who don't quite fit in, the ones who need a refuge, a safe space for them to escape into books, to explore their ideas without fear of ridicule. But as the quiet settles over the group, Elon's thoughts wander again. His gaze drifts back to the gates, to the iron bars that had kept him out earlier in the day. He can't shake the feeling that he's still standing on the edge of something, a boundary between who he used to be and who he's become. And the sting from that rejection still lingers, a reminder of the kid he was, the boy who never quite belonged. Is this enough? The question echoes in his mind, one he hasn't asked himself in years. He's built an empire. He's changed the world with his companies, his inventions, his ideas, but all of that feels distant now, like an echo from another life. The things he's achieved, the accolades he's received, they all seem hollow when stacked against the quiet joy of building something for someone else. For the kids who feel lost, just like he did. May's voice comes to him again, her gentle words that have always grounded him. You're enough, Elon. But even as her faith in him echoes in his mind, the old doubts resurface. The boy who had fled this town at 17, promising never to look back, feels like a stranger now. The past, with all its pain and rejection, has been buried under years of success and the relentless pursuit of bigger dreams. But no matter how far he's come, it feels like there's something he hasn't addressed, something he left behind. The memories flood in once more. The stuttering boy, the awkward outsider, the boy who had been bullied and ridiculed for dreaming too big. He had spent years running from that past, building an empire to prove the world wrong. But now, here at the gates of the school that had once tried to break him, he wonders if that was enough. Did he truly leave that boy behind? Or was he still carrying him, hidden beneath the surface? He walks slowly toward the library, the weight of these thoughts pressing on him. The boys are starting to filter out, heading home after a long day's work. Jacob, the shy kid who had joined him first, lingers behind. He's sitting on the grass, his eyes focused on the library's frame, his face thoughtful. You ever think about why we're doing this? Jacob asks softly, not looking up at Elon, his voice hesitant but filled with curiosity. Elon pauses, the question catching him off guard. He doesn't know what to say at first. The words feel strange on his tongue, like something he's never had to put into words before. But he knows this moment is important, both for Jacob and for him. I guess, Elon begins, his voice gruff, I wanted to build something that mattered. Something more than just the stuff I've built before. Rockets, cars, those are for the future. But this, he gestures to the library, to the boys who are slowly starting to gather their things. This is for the ones who need something to hold on to now. The dreamers, the misfits. Jacob looks up at him then, his expression softening. You know, I never really thought about it like that. I always thought I'd have to be someone else to make something of myself. But maybe I don't have to be someone else. Maybe I just have to be me. Elon's chest tightens at the words. For a moment, he sees himself in that boy, sees the dreamer who had to hide behind a mask just to survive. But now, watching Jacob's face, he realizes something he hadn't fully understood before. This act of giving, of creating, was never about who Elon Musk had become. It was about who he could help others become. He crouches down beside Jacob, his voice quieter now. You don't have to be anyone else, Jacob. Not ever. The world needs people like you, people who are willing to dream no matter how big or small. You're enough just the way you are. Jacob nods slowly, a faint smile tugging at his lips. Thanks, Elon. Elon stands, watching as Jacob walks off, joining the other boys. He feels a quiet sense of fulfillment, the kind of peace that only comes when you've given something without expecting anything in return. This isn't about making a name for himself, about cementing his legacy in the history books. It's about this, about the kids, about the dreamers who now have a place to find their own way. As the boys head off into the evening, Elon lingers for a moment, his gaze locked on the completed library. It's not a grand monument, it's not flashy or over the top, but it's real. It's something that will last long after he's gone. And that feels more significant than any success he's ever had. The guard approaches from the gate, clipboard in hand, his expression unreadable. Elon turns to face him, his thoughts still with the boys. The guard stops a few feet away, glancing at the library, then back at Elon. It's done, the guard says, his tone grudging but with a hint of respect in it now. Didn't think you had it in you. Elon smirks, his voice low. I didn't either, but sometimes it's the things we don't expect that matter the most. The guard nods, though he doesn't say anything else. Elon watches him for a moment, sensing the unspoken change between them. The walls that had once stood between them, the walls of status, power, and fame, have shifted. It's not about who's in charge anymore. It's about something deeper. As the guard walks back to his post, Elon climbs into the truck, his hands still sore from the day's work. He starts the engine, and as the truck hums to life, he takes one last look at the library. The sun is low in the sky, casting long shadows across the school grounds. It's a start. The night settles over Toria, the sky painted deep blue as the last rays of sunlight fade behind the hills. The library stands strong against the darkening sky, its panels still catching what little light remains. The low hum of the solar panels is barely audible in the stillness, but the sense of something real, something lasting, hangs in the air. Elon leans back in the Cybertruck, parked just outside the gates, the engine idling quietly. He hasn't moved for a while. His eyes are locked on the library, watching as the final touches are made by the boys, cleaning up, painting the last sections, and placing the final bookshelves in place. There's a soft, contented murmur of voices, but Elon is lost in his own thoughts. The weight of the day has settled on him now. He's exhausted, physically from the work, but emotionally too. The journey he's been on, from the gates of his past to this moment, has unfolded in a way he never expected. There was a time when he would have brushed off the rejection at the gates as just another obstacle to bulldoze over. But now, in the quiet aftermath, he realizes that it wasn't about conquering the past or building more empires. It was about giving back. It was about reaching out to the ones who, like him, felt like outsiders. The ones who needed a place to dream. The door to the truck creaks open and May steps out, her silver hair catching the last of the day's light. She looks at him with those soft, steady eyes, the same eyes that had always believed in him when he couldn't believe in himself. Her presence brings him a rare sense of peace, the kind of comfort he's only ever felt when she's around. She doesn't say anything at first. Instead, she walks over to the library, her hands clasped in front of her. She stops for a moment, surveying the structure that has emerged from the dust of the past, a quiet smile tugging at her lips. "Well?" she says after a long silence, her voice gentle. "This is something." Elon exhales slowly, leaning back against the seat. "I didn't plan this. I didn't come here to build a library." She turns to face him, her eyes soft but knowing. "You came here for a reason, Elon. You just didn't know it yet." He looks at her then, her words cutting through the fog of his own confusion. She's right, of course. He hadn't come here to build something for himself, to add another achievement to his list of accomplishments. He had come here because something inside him needed to connect with this place, with the kid he once was. Something that was deeper than all the companies, all the rockets, all the success. "You were always building," she continues, her voice quiet but firm. "Even when you didn't know it. Even when you were running away from it." Elon nods slowly, the weight of her words settling in. She's right again. He had been building all his life, building rockets, building cars, building empires. But he had never stopped to ask why. Why he felt the need to keep building, to keep proving something to the world. Why he couldn't just be content with what he had already accomplished. He lets out a long breath, finally meeting her gaze. "I always thought that what mattered was proving them all wrong. Proving that I wasn't the boy they thought I was." May smiles softly, her expression tender. "And now you know. It wasn't about proving anyone wrong. It was about proving to yourself that you could be more than what they said you were. But that boy Elon, he's still a part of you." Her words hang in the air, And for the first time, Elon feels a deep sense of acceptance wash over him. Not just for what he's achieved, but for who he has become and who he was when he left Victoria all those years ago. He watches the boys finish their work, some of them still lingering around the library, their voices rising with excitement as they make plans for the next day. It's not just a place to read or to dream. It's a space that they've built together, a place where they can feel seen, where they can feel heard. It's a safe haven, a shelter from the harshness of the world. He thinks of his own journey, of the things he's built, the heights he's reached. But none of that matters right now, not in the same way. What matters is this library, these boys, the hope that they'll find something in this space that will carry them forward. I think I get it now, Elon says softly, more to himself than to May. It's not about what I've built, it's about what I give. May steps closer, her voice soft and warm. Exactly, and sometimes what we give is more important than what we take. Elon looks back at the library, a smile tugging at the corners of his lips. There's a stillness inside him now, a quiet peace that he hasn't felt in years. The weight of the past has lifted. The old pain, the old rejection, it's still there, but it no longer holds power over him. As the boys start to disperse, Elon turns back to May, a flicker of gratitude in his heart. I couldn't have done this without you. She smiles, her eyes soft with affection. You always had it in you, Elon. You just needed to remember. He nods, his throat tight with emotion. The words he wants to say feel too big, too overwhelming, so he just says what he knows to be true. Thanks, Mom. May's smile widens, and she reaches out to squeeze his hand. You're enough, Elon. You always were. Elon watches the boys leave for the night, their voices growing fainter as they head home. The sky above is dark now, but the library stands strong, its solar panels glinting under the stars. It's a beginning. Not the end of a story, but the start of something bigger. Something that will outlast him. A legacy that isn't built from rockets or cars, but from something simpler. Something more human. The night has settled fully over Victoria. The once blinding light of the sun now replaced by a blanket of stars. Elon sits in the Celeb truck, parked under the sprawling shade of the jacaranda tree. He's been sitting there for a while, just watching. The school grounds are quiet now, the boys having gone home, but the echo of their laughter and chatter still lingers in the air, as if it's part of the space he's just helped create. The library stands firm in the distance, its panels reflecting the moonlight, a silent sentinel in the night. It's a simple structure, one that won't make headlines, won't change the world in the way rockets and electric cars have. But it's something that matters. It's a space for the dreamers, the ones who feel lost, who don't quite fit. Elon leans back in his seat, his fingers tapping lightly against the steering wheel. It's quiet now, but his mind is a whirl of thoughts, swirling like the dust that the truck's tires had kicked up earlier. He spent his life building things that will reach the stars, things that will reshape the world. But now, watching the empty school grounds, watching the library, he feels something else. A quiet, deep sense of fulfillment. Maybe for the first time, he doesn't feel the need to prove anything. Maybe, just maybe, he's already proven everything he needed to prove. Not with rockets or satellites, not with Tesla or SpaceX, but with this. The simple, silent gift of a library for the lost, the dreamers, the ones who had no place to belong. He looks down at the sketchpad resting in the passenger seat, the same one that had carried his vision for the library. It's not much. Just a few sketches, a few notes, simple designs. But as he flips through the pages, he realizes that this is what matters most. Not the grand projects, not the companies or inventions. This is what he was always meant to build. a space where people can dream, a place where they can grow. His phone buzzes, pulling him from his thoughts. He glances down and sees a message from Wick, the school's headmaster. The message reads, "The boys are talking about you. They'll never forget what you did here." A small smile tugs at Elon's lips, a mix of pride and something else. Something softer. It's not the accolades or recognition he's used to, but it's more genuine, more real. This is the kind of recognition that matters. He types a quick reply, "They did it, not me." Elon sits there for a few more moments, the steady hum of the truck's engine blending with the stillness of the night. He feels lighter. It's not that the past is gone, not that the rejection and pain are erased, but they no longer control him. The boy who was bullied and rejected is still there, but he's no longer the center of Elon's world. The story has shifted. He's built something that matters, not for him, but for the next generation. He closes his eyes for a moment, letting the quiet settle over him. He thinks of Jacob, the skinny kid who had approached him first. He thinks of Peter, Thabo, and the others, boys who had spent the day building something with their hands, something that would give them a place to dream. He wonders where they'll go from here, what they'll become. And he hopes deeply that this library will be a refuge for them. A place where they can be themselves, where they can dream without fear of judgment. The wind stirs the leaves of the jacaranda tree, and Elon's thoughts drift to the future, his own and the future of the boys who had worked with him. What will they make of this world? What will they do with the space he's given them to dream? And in a strange way, he realizes that this gift, this library, isn't just a space for the boys. It's a space for him too. A place where he can let go of the past, where he can be free from the constant pressure of proving himself. A place where he can simply be. He opens the truck door and steps out, the gravel crunching under his boots as he walks toward the library one last time. The moonlight bathes the structure, casting long shadows on the ground. He stops for a moment, just looking at it, the simplicity of it all. It's imperfect. It's rough around the edges, but it's real. It's something that will last long after he's gone, something that will continue to give. He takes a deep breath, and for the first time in a long time, he feels a deep sense of peace. Not the kind that comes from winning, from success, but the kind that comes from giving. From knowing that, for once, he's not trying to prove anything. He's simply been a part of something bigger than himself. As he stands there, the boys' voices drift back into his mind, their laughter, their questions, their excitement. They'll remember this day. They'll remember the library they built with their own hands, with his guidance. And hopefully, they'll carry that memory with them, just as he carries the memory of his own time here, the time when he dreamed of something more. Elon turns away from the library, walking back to the truck. He doesn't need to look back anymore. The past is in the rearview mirror, and for the first time, he's ready to drive forward. He climbs back into the truck, the engine humming to life beneath him. As he drives away from Toria Boys High School, he takes one last look at the library in his rearview mirror. Maybe this is what it was all for, he thinks. To build something that can outlast us, something that can give others the space to dream. The jacaranda tree's purple blooms dust the truck's frame as he pulls away, a final reminder of what he's left behind. Not just a library, but a lesson. A lesson about giving without needing to take, about leaving behind something meaningful, about letting go of the past to create a new future. As the truck fades into the distance, the library stands still under the stars, a quiet symbol of the new beginning that Elon Musk has helped to create, not just for himself, but for the dreamers who will follow in his footsteps. If you found value in this story and feel inspired by the journey we've shared today, consider showing your support by hitting that like button. It helps us reach more dreamers, just like you. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel, Celeb Uncovered, so you don't miss out on more powerful stories that are waiting to be told. Thank you for being part of this journey, and may God bless the United States of America.